Rugby trophies, folks. Which ones are the best looking trophies in the world? We're going to go through 16 of rugby's trophies, specifically men's rugby, and specifically 15's rugby. Certainly not an exhaustive list of every rugby trophy in the world, but mostly ones that I am at least fairly familiar with. We'll go through them, rank them based on just my personal feelings on them. Are they top tier? Second tier, bottom tier, how do they rank? And you guys can let us know your thoughts. Also, if you stick to the end, I asked my wife to also rank these trophies. I showed her 2 pictures of each trophy. I showed her just the trophy and then someone holding the trophy, because sometimes someone holding the trophy can give it kind of a different look, different aesthetic. You can get more of a sense of the size and scale of the trophy. So yeah, she's got no emotional connection to any of these trophies. I get the feeling, because some of these trophies I kind of grew up watching, if that makes sense. I will certainly be more emotionally connected to some of these trophies than others, which will likely lead to higher rankings. But hey, it's just my thoughts, and rugby trophies are great things. Let's start with this bad boy. It's called like the Brenner Shield from the top 14. Top 14 competition I don't watch that much, so not really particularly emotionally connected to this trophy. I'm going to chuck it here. It's fine. It's large. It's not like a cup. It's more of a shield, like I said. They've surfed on the bloody thing. Like, they tend to treat this thing pretty roughly to the top 14 players, but I would certainly imagine it's a pretty highly regarded one if you are French. I am not French, so it doesn't quite mean that much to me, but it's a big old trophy which is suitable for big rugby players to handle the thing. Another shield, I would say you'd probably reverse this order if you're French, but I'm not French, I'm a Kiwi. That trophy is the Ramfurly Shield. It's probably a similar size, maybe a bit smaller than that Brenner Shield from France. It's a domestic trophy which probably has the highest prestige value here in NZ domestic rugby. It's a pretty hard trophy to win because of its unique format, in that you can only win it by going to the team who holds it and winning away from home. So you could literally go through a whole season without getting that scheduled match. You know, you might not play Canterbury away if they are the holders. You know, if you play them at home, you don't get a chance to win it. If Canterbury lose it the week before you were due to play them, you don't get a chance to win it. You might get multiple chances to play for it in one season. And yeah, it's a great trophy here in NZ. It's a big meaty fella. It's been broken a few times, to be fair, because rugby players, as I said, can treat the trophies pretty rough. You know, big fellas, bit of beer has results. You can see around the edge of the Ramfurly Shield, they've got little mini shields. Those are inscribed with the winning team's names. Obviously, they've removed the old ones and add new ones over time, but I think it's a pretty cool trophy. What else have we got? This bad boy is the current Super Rugby trophy, and I don't like it. It's not a cup. It's not a shield. It is just, I guess, a trophy. I'm always a little bit harder on trophies you can't drink from. I mean, shields, you can't drink from them either, but yeah, doesn't quite sit well for me, this one. It looks like an egg wearing a cape to me, but that's the current Super Rugby trophy. I preferred the old one, which was the Super 15 trophy, but that's what we've currently got. So that's the Super Rugby trophy as it stands. This one's certainly a bit different. This is the Calcutta Cup, and I'm going to chuck it here in the middle. It's certainly got uniqueness to it. It's got snakes for handles and an elephant on top. It's not the biggest or smallest of rugby trophies. It's probably slightly leaning towards the small side, but you can drink from it. It looks the part. It looks kind of traditional. You know, you can feel the history with that trophy, so I think it looks pretty cool. One that you can't maybe feel the history as much is this one. That's the Rugby Championship trophy. It looks a little bit more modern with the kind of goalposts. I can see that they've gone with the goalposts as the kind of the sides of the trophy. You can drink from it, which is obviously pretty cool. It's pretty sizable, but it's maybe a touch too modern for my tastes. I'm a bit of a stick in the mud and prefer the more old school trophies. Like, you can see that Super Rugby trophy is a bit too modern for my taste as well. I'm a bit more of a stick in the mud in that I like trophies that look like trophies, like this one. The Premiership trophy. It's a big old silver trophy. Big handles, shiny. That's what it should be, and I guess so is this one. They're pretty similar themed trophies. The Champions Cup trophy, one from England and one from kind of greater European rugby. Two of two of the kind of most traditional looking trophies of the bunch. They're not that standout compared to some of the other ones. They're not exceptionally large, but they are very shiny silver trophies. So that gets a pass for my book. One that's got a little bit, I think, more modern look to it is probably this URC trophy. It's very large. I'll give it that. You can drink from it. I'll give it that. But it's kind of weird looking. They've gone way more modern. This is just me being a grumpy old man again. It's a little bit too out there for my tastes, but it certainly looks the part when a rugby player is holding it. I will certainly say that about the URC trophy. The fact that it doesn't look like it can stand up when you take it off the base, that I'm not so much of a fan of. This one, though, has got a lot more history. That's the Curry Cup. That looks the business for mine. It's pretty big. It's not massive, but it's pretty big. It's still a cup that you can drink from. The base is massive, and it's got the shields of the previous winners around it. Love that kind of added touch with the history. The Curry Cup for mine is an absolute winner. One that I wasn't that familiar with was this guy. That's the Japan League One trophy, or cup. She looks pretty big. She looks pretty dangerous. It's got kind of spikes on it. Again, I'm just worried about celebrating potentially slightly intoxicated rugby players mucking around with the trophy. But yeah, she's a big boy. And I'm sure you can have a few pints out of that one as well. Maybe not as many pints as you can have out of this guy, though. The Bledisloe Cup. For me, this is top tier rugby trophy. It is freaking massive. I just like massive trophies when the people holding them are massive humans. Have you seen like sumo wrestling? The cups those guys have are enormous. Have you seen the Stanley Cup in ice hockey? Enormous. Rugby players should hold big trophy because rugby players are big, strong dudes. If they're holding little dainty cups, it doesn't look right. So the Bledisloe Cup, it's obviously only an Aussie and New Zealand trophy. So for the rest of the world, probably you couldn't give two hoots about the Bledisloe. But man, it can fit a lot of beers. I think they've counted how many beers it can fit in it. It's massive. Yeah, it's just what a trophy should be. It's big and shiny and silver and massive, and I don't know. Yeah, I like the Bledisloe. I think it's the epitome of it. Now, this one's also really big. This is the MLR Shield, but for me, it's down here. It's basically they printed off the logo of the competition and made it into a shield. So, yeah, I worry that one may date a little bit if the, like logos of competitions tend to get updated over time. Not always, but yeah, I feel like they could have done a little bit more. Again, a little bit more stick in the mud. I like a nice, shiny trophy. Like the other two shields on there look better than the MLR shield, in my personal opinion. This shield looks alright. That's the Triple Crown. That one's nice. It's not massive. It's a little bit on the small side, but it's kind of a secondary role trophy in itself, like the Bledisloe, I guess, and like the Calcutta Cup. It's not the premier trophy or the Ranfurly Shield, to be fair, within its own competition. But, it's a nice traditional looking bit of silverware that I can get behind for sure. This one's the Freedom Cup, which is competed with between South Africa and New Zealand. I'm going to chuck it down there. It looks a little bit on the fragile side for giving rugby players to handle. I mean, I'm sure you can drink from it, but you'd be worried about breaking it, I would imagine. I mean, it's pretty sizable, but base is wood. But yeah, and maybe doesn't quite have the history that the Bledisloe has just yet. We may get that over time. Six Nations Trophy, I think, is fine. It's kind of in the middle. It's not that flash. It's nothing wrong with it. It's a big, shiny silver trophy, which I can certainly approve of. But again, if I was from the Northern Hemisphere and I had a country competing for that trophy, I'm sure I would feel more of a connection to winning that thing. But that's where it is for mine. And then last but not least, old Bill, the Rugby World Cup trophy. Certainly the most prestigious cup or trophy in World Rugby. For me, it ends up here. It's bloody beautiful. It's a great design. I just think it's a touch small. Because rugby players, as I mentioned, tend to be rather large humans. Like when Brian Habana holds it, it looks fantastic, especially when it's got the base on it. But when the base is not attached and you're giving it to someone who's a big, bulky forward, it just looks a touch too small. Big hands holding it, little kind of, little handles. Doesn't quite look the part as one of those big trophies. I wish it were a bit bigger. I know it's gold, so, that kind of sets it apart in that regard. But, yes, that is my rankings list for the trophies. For how my impartial wife, who knows nothing about any of these trophies, went, for her it was Old Bill at the top. She looked at the trophy initially and was like, no, it's okay. And then she saw Habana holding it, was like, that looks beautiful. She was absolutely sold on it from that point. She also seems to have a little bit less problem with the Super Rugby trophy than mine, but she also likes the Curry Cup one. She liked the Japanese trophy and the Heineken Cup, or the Champions Cup. Less a fan of the Calcutta Cup and the URC trophy. So that was kind of her look, and not a big fan of the Bledisloe either, as a person who doesn't know any of the names of any of these trophies, and likely none of the players or people I showed holding those trophies. I tried to pick pictures of either players she doesn't know, like kind of more old school players, because she doesn't know the modern guys anyway, but like the ones who have retired, she's certainly not seen. And then if there was anyone, just some random person holding the trophy, just so she wouldn't get influenced. Like if she'd seen Dan Carter holding one of the trophies, she probably would have ranked it higher. I know my wife, so there you go. But that's it. Hope you guys are all good, taking care of yourselves, and let us know your thoughts on the rugby trophies and how you would rank them. I have pre-recorded this video. I'm sitting here. This is the past. This is March. I'm off in China in April, so this is kind of a pre-recorded video. But I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit kind of not time sensitive that I thought was worthy of a quick discussion. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.